Well, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. There's a whole new level to the game. You ain't never seen these moves so smooth, so sleek, with a vibrant oomph of color that'll knock you out of your socks, head out of the ring, and I only got one more thing to tell you, brother. This is really hard to do. Really. Can I just play water, please? Thank you. Anyway, hi guys, it's me, Mike from Dice Hard, and I wanted to talk to you today about a comic book called Invasion of Wrestletopia. Now, I bloody love comics and I bloody love professional wrestling, so this is perfect for me. Not only do I have access to one of the funnest books I've ever read in my life, but it so wonderfully connects the dots between the ridiculousness and the colour of comic books and the ridiculousness and the spandex of wrestling. But it's not just a funny book with the high-flying moves and death-defying stunts that you would expect to see in maybe an Attitude Era WWE, but it's also a real introspective look on what it means to be a wrestler, especially in the 80s. Nowadays, we are so much more kind of like health-driven. Even the steroids are better for us. Back then, it was drugs, booze and babes all the way through. God damn the 80s.
Immediately we're thrown into the colourful world of professional wrestling. It's the 80s, the stage is set, and AMF fan favourite Rory Landell is rehearsing his epic promo in front of the mirror, as I'm sure many wrestlers do. Preparing to ascend to the upper echelon of champions, we are thrust into both the absurd nature of wrestling and the true heartbreak and cutthroat nature of the business in one swift panel. When Rory's informed by a man in full Aboriginal garb called Herman, because wrestling, that Mr. Drazen, he's the Vince McMahon of the piece, and he wants to speak to him. By the way, Mr. Drazen is currently watching his newest talent wrestle, and who's that talent? It's a freaking bear. He's wrestling a bear. This man is insane. Mr. Drazen is insane. He is definitely the Vince McMahon of this piece. After speaking to his boss, the cocky and brash Rory is actually told he'll no longer be fighting for the title. In fact, the bear will. This led him to a moment of kayfabe breaking wonder, a la CM Punk's pipe bomb. Rory goes off script, declaring himself, and fashioning himself a nice belt, for the Galactic Champion of the universe. Now, in real world wrestling, it's a fireable offence to go off script. You're fired! But for this book, we also have a space trucker. And this space trucker has picked up the signal from 15 years ago. And this space trucker knows exactly who this message needs to get to. Cut to Planet Wrestletopia. And that's when we're introduced to Manifest Destiny. So, having claimed himself the Galactic Champion of the universe, Rory's hotspot made its way across the stars 15 years, leading to the front door of the Wrestletopian tyrant Manifest Destiny. I mean, if you're the baddest, raddest dude on the planet, you're going to take such a claim as a challenge, are you not? Champ v champ, always a winner, no? Add to all this a ragtag crew of both up-and-coming and aged wrestlers, fighting their way to the main event, and for Rory to pick up his career where it truly left off all those years ago, retrain his body and his mind, and if you're feeling trippy in one issue, his soul, and face Manifest Destiny in a brawl that would make the Undertaker-Shawn Michaels matches from WrestleMania 25 and 26 look like botched works from lazy jobbers.
What I love about this book is the fact that it really gets to the realities of what it was like to be a wrestler, especially in the 80s and 90s. When we were kids, I remember watching the Attitude Era, seeing people thrown off the top of the cage. Foley is God. We used to dress up like them, run around like them. We used to do signature moves, swanton bombs off our bedposts. Within the first issue, we already see a steep decline and what the industry actually can be like for the wrestlers, the people who put their heart and their soul and everything into it, only to be turned away by a wrestling bear. This book, it's not just a fun jaunt into the spandex-laden squared circle. It most definitely is that, but it's also an introspective look on a human's life, on the ramifications of the decisions they've made in their youth. The knock-on effect that it's had for other people in their careers and lives and where they are now because one person couldn't sit back and let someone else or something else take centre stage. It's a very, very cool book in this way. It's got layers that you don't even realise are there until maybe second or third reading, and even then it just makes the book all that much more better. Yes, it's a ridiculously fun adventure with an old washed-up wrestler as he tries to regain his youth and career. You've got the sketchy promoter, the jilted former partner, the broken down manager who was clearly a father figure who can't let his bumbling drunken client go, the booze, the drugs, the girls, the sadness, the shit video games that he would still be playing to this day 30 years later. It all feels so real. You know, other than the alien spandex wearing wrestlers with a view for intergalactic domination, but it feels pretty real other than that. The emotion.
The writers Matt Entin and Ed Kuehnel really deserve some praise for this one.
As an adult, I don't really have much time to watch wrestling anymore, especially considering they've got 3-hour episodes of Raw, 3-hour episodes of SmackDown, NXT, and then pay-per-views, what seemingly every week nowadays. Obviously they're not, I'm exaggerating, but hey, we're talking about wrestling here, so the colours are also amazing. Marissa Louise was able to take shadows and add them to very bold, strong, vibrant colours. It adds a subtlety to it, weirdly enough, which makes it feel more like a human introspective piece than it does a ridiculous intergalactic war between wrestlers. This book hits all the old school notes that any wrestling fan worth their weight in spandex can pick up on. And as you're reading the book, you start to realise as the plot flows, I'm watching wrestling. I mean, I'm reading it, but I'm watching a wrestling storyline play out in the exact same way that you would for WWE, AWE, TNA, any of those organisations. Weeks and weeks and weeks of build-up. They were able to write this book in such a way that you genuinely felt like you were back at home on a Saturday morning, making yourself sick with custard creams while your mum and dad are asleep upstairs, and you're watching the Hardy Boys take on Edge and Christian for the 22nd time that month. But you don't care, because there's ladders and tables and chairs involved, and it's so, so wonderful, everyone. Personally, I was such a huge fan of the Extreme Rules matches, especially the TLCs, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, the Hardy Boys. Oh, goddamn. Give me some of that hardcore. Get it! Oh, jeez. It takes you back to that feeling of seeing the underdog get his hand raised finally after months of being pushed down in the dirt, getting so much crap laid on them, having the evil stable, probably DX at this point in what I'm thinking anyway, coming in and interrupting the referee, messing everything up and taking out anyone that they possibly can to stop the good guy from winning. And then finally at the end of the pay-per-view, he has his hand raised. I'm not saying that's what happens in this book, so you're going to have to read it. This book goes in several different directions that you never quite see coming, because that is the other beauty of it. It is still, at the end of the day, a story, and they don't want you to know everything about it. They want you to really, to be surprised, to enjoy this book. This is a fantastic one to start with. I would never say it's the first comic book anyone should read, but I would say if you're a wrestling fan and you want to get into comics and you're a little bit iffy, this is the one for you. This is what'll get you there. Because you'll be able to understand the format of a comic book as well as still getting everything that you enjoy from your entertainment. I really hope you enjoyed the spoiler-free review of Invasion of Wrestletopia as much as I enjoyed reading it. If you do want a spoilerific one, see me go into a bit more detail about the book, maybe throw out some storylines and stuff like that, let's have a bit of fun with that, just let me know. We can get it done, why not? Until then, keep an eye out for more videos on comic books. I'm going to do some more reviews, some lists of what you should be reading. We're just going to have a lot of good fun with some superheroes, or some monsters, or some wrestlers, or aliens, or ghouls, or gremlins, or trolls, or whatever the hell we want, because, oh god, comics are awesome. And so is wrestling. So please read Invasion of Wrestletopia, because if you don't, I'll choke slam you. Like, trying to do the thing with my eyes. Is it working? Is it working? Oh, is it working? No? Okay. Read the book. Right. I can subscribe. Give me some of that hardcore. Oh, every day, just give me some of that hardcore. I can take it, man. Too much hardcore. Yeah, I'm fine. It doesn't hurt.
It sounds and feels like it should.
I know, that's why I said use this pan. Doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that's fine. Do I need to do it?
No, we're done now.
Okay.
Emotion.